Welcome back to Nerding Out, Geeking Out.
Whoop, whoop.
This is
Hello, world.
This is episode 3. I'm Luke.
I'm Greshan.
And I'm James.
And don't forget, we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, YouTube, and please fill in the poll below the Spotify and make sure you comment on the YouTube saying which bits you enjoy so we can cater the next few episodes. So, we're going to refresh this from the last one. We are going to be splitting into Nerding Out first, which is real-world topics of engineering and design, and then afterwards we'll be doing Geeking Out, sci-fi, games, films, and TV, and other stuff that's nerdy. So,
Sounds good.
I believe, once again, the first thing will be apologies from Greshan.
Aye. I believe, considering we didn't really get too many comments from our listeners regarding anything.
That we're not thick.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Apart from one, perhaps. There was a moment where I referred to someone as a bloody Russian. He knows who he is. I should mention to everyone, he's not a bloody Russian. He's a lovely Russian.
He's a good friend of ours.
He's a very good friend of ours, and we absolutely take the mick out of each other.
Yes.
And one day we will do an episode on something we do hold dear and close to our hearts, which is Rainbow Six Siege. But that is
good game of Rainbow.
good game of Rainbow, and it leads to many arguments, but this is a conversation for another episode, especially because there is some interesting Siege news coming early March, so look forward to that.
Ooh.
I know.
Siege.
Yeah,
Shall we jump into our first topics?
I think it'd be good too.
Yes.
Okie dokie. I believe this is over to James.
Yes, well, me and you have me and Luke have been talking
We have.
about...
Dangerous times.
Yes, it becomes dangerous. It ends up with...
We are sensible with money.
Lots of money being spent, lots of plastic being printed, and lots of printers being purchased.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, this one isn't entirely printing. It is more the fact that as you guys know, I don't think I've mentioned it to the audience, I used to do a lot of renders. Video rendering, so I would do product renders and animations. I've done that at university and a bit of freelance here and there. So I have a lot of assets and things like that I've built up over the years. And I've been thinking and trying to justify, I think is the best way to describe it.
Just buy it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And these are the conversations we
This
have.
is bad. This is dangerous.
That it's not stupidly expensive, but it's a NAS, which is stands for Network Attached Storage.
Okay.
So it's basically a small computer that has the one I was looking at has like 4 or 5 drives.
Okay.
So storage.
There's a storage server.
A storage server, yes. The reason why it's more of a NAS is it's a pre-built system.
Right, okay.
Rather than me building one, which we can get onto in a minute about what I went into when I started looking at building things like that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
There's some big dollar signs going up there.
Cha-ching,
This
cha-ching.
kind of follows on from the last episode of I am an Apple fanboy. But before that...
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff going into the terabytes of video assets, and also like pre-videos where I was at university and did the traditional version 1, definitely final final V1.
Yes. I mean, that's how my YouTube episodes always end up. Now.
That's what got me thinking about this, was actually talking to you about it, because your computer has 1 billion storage spaces on there.
It's called future-proofing.
Yes,
But even then, I have had to uninstall games in the last year.
yeah.
Especially every time COD has an update.
Oh, my days.
That does have and that is why I'm going to need a NAS. So I can take everything off my computer and put it on to this network storage.
Makes sense.
Now, the other way is, do I build one myself and get a computer chassis and build it? Or do I do the sensible option and buy one from Synology, for instance, which is a very reputable make of them? The problem I've got here is the one I would want and the amount of storage I would need. Like, I want redundancy, so I need to go into RAID 2, which is a mirror. So so you have one drive, and then it copies it to another. So if you
It's like a backup.
yeah. So if you had, for instance, if you had 4 drives, only 2 of them are usable for storage.
Right. Okay.
So say you had 2 terabytes each, so realistically you'd have 6 terabytes. If you did it into, I think it's RAID 1, it basically cuts it in half, and that's your backup. So you could lose, a drive before losing anything.
My dad still has a copy of this sort of setup of the old hard disks. I think still before solid state was a thing, and it was always split in half so that you'd have a backup of the server. That's because she's always had company assets because software engineering.
Yeah.
So you'd have a backup of everything.
Yeah, that's basically what it's mainly for. And even today, we'll still use spinning drives because solid state is still so expensive.
It is
You know,
extortionate.
my school, when I was at secondary school, and this was only 12 years ago, so it's not ridiculous, but they still backed up onto cassettes every weekend.
Wow.
Like,
Yowza.
apparently, I talked to them about it. I was like, why don't you have like an actual server? Because hard drives are about then. Like, Dad already built the backup server, and they're like, oh, it's just because it's stable, it's more reliable. And I was like, fair enough. But now you can get solid states as well. You can get high reliability, which are through the roof still on price though.
Oh god, yeah.
But yeah, I think the reason was they didn't have to do a duplicate. They did one copy. And if the copy failed, they got another cassette out and then would start it again.
Yeah, it's more of a digital version of that.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got a RAID card in the pre-built already in.
Yeah.
So it means you don't have to set it up. But there is some new software that has come out. It's from a YouTuber that I watch, Linus Tech Tips.
Oh, yes.
It's Hex OS, which is built on, I forget the actual software name. It's an open source operating system for NAS drives, but this one basically has a nice skin over it.
Oh, okay.
And they've pre-validated some apps. They've got Plex right now is one of them I know of, but so that's what got me thinking: do I just build my own?
Well, yeah, it would make sense to build your own. It just depends on how easy it is, I guess, to get the chassis sections, right? Because
Yes, yeah, and you need you don't need much airflow, but you need some.
Yeah.
Just to cool the drives, but also with a NAS you are limited by the size of what you buy.
Yeah.
Whereas with a computer you can
It's
upgrade.
You can
It's
rip
easier
things
to
out.
it's easier to buy a bigger case than what you would need.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Are NASs generally quite difficult to kind of tinker around with?
the more like pre-built computers. People
It's
don't
almost some of them are almost like a PlayStation or an Xbox. It's like a proper built-in unit.
Yes, we'll put some pictures on just like of a Synology. What as like a blocky device, like they're pretty good. They look good, and they don't stand out. You could have it on a shelf and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
That's kind of what it is. So I'm in the process of thinking about that, and also potentially looking at upgrading the computer. Especially, I need some more actual storage.
Yeah, actual storage is definitely something that I made sure that I overspec.
Yeah.
I did get like a 2 terabyte drive thing, during lockdown, which was enough at the time.
Yeah.
And then I got a 4 terabyte normal drive, but I also had I've got 2 external 6 terabyte drives, and they're full.
Yeah.
Full of
I
CAD
had this
models and
problem.
stuff.
So back in, I think it was 2019, before I built my new PC, and I'd sold the DeLorean, and I knew that money was going towards a house. It was a case of, oh, I actually need storage. So it was all backed up on the server. And I looked at it, and so I went, so I actually, part of the reason I built my new PC was so I had a ridiculous amount of storage when I moved out. I went overboard because I put 12 terabytes in.
12 terabytes is so cool.
I currently have a C drive dedicated to Windows, which is 2 terabytes, so it's overkill.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't need that much. But I know that I've got that to overflow into.
I mean, in saying that, I think I've probably gone over a terabyte of apps
Yeah.
that I've got.
Well, no, that's all a different one.
Yeah. Oh,
So all apps and games are stored on one specifically for apps and games, which is solid state still.
oh, you see, I've
'Cause
done that.
It's regular usage, so you don't want to wear it out. And then I've got a brand new, I think it's 2 or 3 terabyte hard drive still in there.
Yeah.
That's for file storage for long term. So stuff you don't access regularly that can sit there on the shelf, and unless you power it up, it's not going to start whining.
Yeah.
So like when I finished an episode on YouTube, or I've got a back catalogue of all the old videos I used to do, they sit on there. And then when I finish, for example, this episode, it will go onto YouTube, and after that upload, it will go onto that drive.
So it's an archive.
So it's an archive.
Okay.
I haven't backed it up major because, to be honest, the other thing in the modern age is I've uploaded every photo
Cloud
and
backups?
video onto Google.
Yep. Cloud.
Now you see that's actually quite good because that's the reason. One of the other reasons why I want to build an NAS
Yeah.
is I want to stop using iCloud.
Yeah.
Well,
It
I
does.
will.
It gets expensive when you
It
get
re-
so much.
But I'm at $2.99
It starts
now.
off so, like, no, the entry level
Yeah.
is so lovely.
Yeah.
It's so it's barely it's pennies.
But to like get up to like I'm at $2.99, which I think is pretty good for like my photos and things, which is nice.
It's good.
It's
So
200
I
gig.
know the next jump is not nice.
It's 2 terabytes, and it's like I think it's like $8.99 or
yeah,
something.
it's approaching that tenner mark.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, is it worth as well as putting that money into it and
Yeah.
building it from there? So
I think it's something I'm going to have to start looking at some
Yeah.
point because. So the funny thing is, there was also a very brief moment where this was on CDs. So that was maybe 2010 to 2013 when I was doing initial video editing. I would complete a project, and then there would be a master copy CD that would then go on the shelf, and that would be an episode that I'd completed. Then it all moved away from that, and I'm not going to lie, you can't build a PC with a CD drive anymore.
No.
Because there was a brief moment where I went from doing it on CDs to DVDs. Then I built a new PC. The first version of it actually did have a disk drive. I spent a fortune trying to find one. Like an actual disk drive that was for sale that was good and a case.
Yeah.
Then that was all like redundant because I then needed to upgrade it because I realized that I'd bought a 3090 and funnily enough that case was not cooling it enough and it was getting up to about 88 degrees on standby.
Yeah.
So I had to quickly get a Corsair one with loads of fans and cooling involved. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to do something like that soon because I would like to be able to update a backup that's in my house.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's the case of I want it all off my computer now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've sorted it all out, and I'm like we were talking the other night. I couldn't find half the assets that I've got.
No.
Like I was looking for like what we're getting onto next. Actually, my speaker.
Yeah.
I was trying to get some parts for that, and I'm very good at trying to keep all my files clearly worded and things like
Yeah.
that. But I'm very much organised, and I just lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I managed to find it, but it took a while.
Yeah.
I'm at a similar point where I have to go and do a complete audit because I've got multiple folders full of sound effects and overlays. Also, overlays with mod files. Mod files aren't supported on modern software unless you've got an Apple now. It used to be you could get it onto
true.
all sorts
Yep.
because it's the industry standard. Now it's not. It's MP4. So the software I use doesn't accept MILF. So I need to find a way to convert half the assets I've got.
I think you can. There will be some conversion.
Yeah, because I've got like things like overlays of explosions and sparks and blood splatters and all sorts of stuff. I just can't use it anymore. But
So-
yeah, I've got a similar thing where I need to like remix my whole hard drive setup in a similar
That's
way.
kind of what I think that's going to be the next job. To
You just have a nice quiet week where you don't do anything
Yeah.
but sit at the computer.
And
Yeah.
when on earth are you
That-
planning
I mean,
on finding
qu-
one of those?
I can get a quiet day.
Somewhere
Some
in between,
say.
somewhere in between the manic YouTube content creation, the podcast, and the wedding this year. Oh yeah, I don't really have any time, do you?
Exactly.
You might have a spare hour.
Maybe.
I know I've managed to get a weekend,
Mm,
but it's only a Saturday.
nice. I might have to book actual holiday.
Yeah, from everything.
Yeah.
So I suppose asking the listeners and the viewers,
Yes.
what would you guys
What
recommend?
would you recommend?
What would anyone recommend? Because I'm I'm very much stuck on this. I don't know whether
Looking
to.
for solutions.
Yeah,
Yes.
I any help would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think my current way would be to build a PC.
Yes, well, I think build one. I know how to build one myself, but I'm very much struggling on the best way to set it up, which is why I found
Yeah,
Hex OS, which you can buy a lifetime pass, which is very. It's not a subscription model.
yeah,
You
that's
can-
rare.
That's
yeah.
surprising.
So you buy that outright, and
Fair play, Linus.
they do like it's going to have like a mini app store where you have like Plex on and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that, but any suggestions would be greatly
You do
appreciated.
it with Linux as well, can't you?
Yes, I'm not.
You can do anything on Linux
Yeah.
as long as you understand Linux.
That is true.
and I do not understand
it
Linux.
is as great as Linux is. I've got a couple mates who I know are listening, and they've been advocating for Linux ever since the beginning of time, ever since I've known them.
Before
but-
the dawn of time.
But it's just
Many years.
I feel like it definitely has a barrier of entry.
Yeah, it does.
like there is you need to be this height,
Yeah.
aka this skill level in software to be able to
I
use that.
think they tried to change that. Sometimes
They
they've,
have.
there's like a skin, but it kind of just looks like Windows / Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, as a basic thing, you need to understand the basics of terminal. First
Yeah.
of all, you need to understand controlling everything from terminal, and that's just first. That's just like step number
Yeah.
one.
For me, it'd be installing it.
yeah.
But so yeah, that's any listeners and viewers want to reach out, we're more than happy to.
Yeah,
Please
let us
help.
know. Because I guess we're both in this problem
Yes,
soon.
yeah. I think I'm trying to catch up with it because I don't need it just yet, but
You know you will in the
I
future.
know, yeah. Like
Yeah.
if I'm building a new computer or
It'll be
something
good
like
to future proof it.
Yeah, it's going to be good to get everything off this computer so I don't have to reinstall everything again.
It's not a bad chat. No.
And, yeah.
You're basically trying to get ahead of it.
But yes, I suppose actually that kind of leads nicely onto our
Yes.
next topic.
You've got a double bill of James because now you've got another topic to bring forward. Do you want to bring forward?
So people might remember this from episode 1. We were chatting about projects that we were working on, and one of them was James's current pet project. This isn't the Minecraft one,
No.
real life project.
This is real world.
Real
Real
world
world project.
Suppose I'll try and put
is
that.
his
So,
speaker project.
This is I suppose I think best
Turn it
just to show
slightly.
the sketch. So that is an old sketch of mine from the university days. It's
many
moons
years
ago.
It's been updated slightly with colour and arrows. But the idea behind it is I wanted to design a speaker. And as you know from the first episode, I think I mentioned it, I bought a speaker off Luke.
Yes.
A printer.
Printer. A very large one.
A very large one. And it was mainly for this, to
Yes.
start this. Now, this was a test print, but I believe it's going to turn into the actual
Okay.
product. I've started to order my parts in.
Very nice.
I'm going for currently speakers are going to be from Dayton Audio, which seems to be a hobbyist place to get decent speakers.
Okay.
I started looking around for the speakers I wanted. I'm going to go for 2 full range drivers. So they're woofers, but they are but they can go from, I believe, full range from low to high.
Very nice.
And then I'm going to go for 1 large subwoofer in the middle. So that should be able to travel around.
May I interject because not everyone's on video. Just to describe the
Oh yes,
shape.
of course.
So the shape of the speaker design is, I would say, a hemisphere at approximately 45 degrees.
That's correct.
With the bottom section essentially flattened so it can sit flat. If you're familiar with floss lighting, it's very similar to the floss tachia. Which
Design icon.
and the original sketch that you first did when you were at uni has got a base similar to the floss tachia, where it is a cylinder with ribbing with, I believe, I'm assuming this is the base at the bottom
Yes,
in the
that
original
would be the
design.
base. That was going to be a added base, so it was going to be a large woofer
Nice.
and potentially an array of tweeters.
Interesting.
Okay.
But
They've gone to the
yeah, for the scope of this particular project, I've chosen to get rid of the base for now. That's something that can be added later on. But I actually wanted to get something finished, to be perfectly honest with you.
fair enough.
Yeah.
So this one I'm quite happy with the structure. This is only an outer skin for now. There's going to be internal components that attach to each other together to create rigidity, and as well as I'm going to be 3D printing in solid metal plastic, the ABS metal, I think it is.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
got lots of
we
metal
spoke
filing.
about
Yes,
this,
so
yeah.
it adds density to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a
the
bit
other
of
way
weight.
is we could add. We were talking offline about adding clay or things into the print.
Yeah, because you can stop it at a certain layer,
and then-
fill it with anything
Yeah.
heavy, then continue to print over the top.
Effectively sealing that weight in.
Yes, and that's what needs to be for sound dampening.
Yes.
And sorry.
And so I was going to say, and inside the sphere, you were talking about supports. At the moment, there are rib supports to increase the strength and rigidity, and you've done this flattening effect, like almost faceting, but you did it on purpose.
Yes, that mainly was for when I was going to be using tweeters.
Yep.
Not as much now that I've got full range, but it still will help. It's the fact that if it was all perfectly smooth, it would, once the sound waves would hit it, it would all converge into one point.
Yes.
Whereas with flat faces, hopefully they'll go off into different directions.
Okay, so it's more spatial and it will fill
Yes,
the area more.
hopefully yes. And with the open center at the bottom, I'm hoping that when I add this, there's going to be a small base. You can see on the sketch
Yes.
that
Like a
there's
plinth,
yes,
almost. I'd say it's a small disc.
yeah, it is literally a small disc that will have space. Basically, it's for air, and it will have enough a cavity in there and an outlet to help the base travel lower.
Okay.
So I'm going to have the base, yes, in the front, but also at the back.
Wait, so
Interesting.
is this technically a ported speaker, or if you've got an outlet, or if you've got space?
Yes, but it's not going to have the.
Impact that
Yeah,
a normal ported speaker would.
I won't have the amount of space.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Like
okay,
I don't
understand.
have the amount of air or volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no,
I
get
could
that,
do
get
if
that.
I had the base.
Yes.
That's later on. This one is mainly I didn't realize I picked very similar speakers to what people have been designing for boom boxes, basically.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, really?
Like custom ones, and
Yeah.
that goes on to what I will be buying. This might not be the final print actually, because I need to make a back cover.
Okay.
But I'm currently deciding which one to get.
Interesting.
There's There's two of them from a online company, where they do. Just get the name up actually. What was it?
We try and discuss how we.
lyric.
A lyric.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. A relic.
A relic. Sorry.
Pronounce it right, question.
No. just think about it this way: acrylic without the C.
Ah, yes.
The
A
first C.
relic.
The first C.
I only clocked that. I was like,
Oh,
hold
my
on a second.
days.
Without the C.
We
oh, no.
do words very well.
To
I'm
be
the
fair,
dyslexic one, actually.
to be fair, we are engineers. English is like
The worst thing is there's two dyslexics here.
Yeah.
English is nice to have. Sorry, mum. Mum is
Too dyslexic,
Mum,
and it's not your first language.
Mum, yeah, not the first. Mum is an English teacher, so
So
probably
yeah,
not too happy with that.
Question.
I know, disappointment.
don't let her hear this. But if you do, hello.
It is very impressive, and
I like the shading as well.
yeah, I like the fact that it's actually more spherical, I think, than the tachia.
Yes, it is. That was kind of down to I did elongate it up here. It just didn't look right for what I wanted. So it's going to be a 2.1 system,
Very nice.
which means it's going to have left and right, and the left and right channels are basically just going to. I can merge into one in software. and then what the point 1 is the sub. So
You know the rule as well, right? I'm sorry, but it's got a hole in it, so you got to stick it on, you guys.
and it does fit.
It's big enough for a crown. You can use it as a crown, everyone. This is a bonus.
A bonus feature.
It's amazingly stiff of those ribs.
When I get the front on there, it will be fine, and it will be covered in fabric, as that's my.
Of course.
Are you planning on doing cross ribs from there to there? Or?
There's going to be a fascia.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where all the bits attached to.
That will
That's going to be
stabilise it, yeah.
quite thick.
Yeah.
And
then
then,
plus you
like I said,
introduce the
this
metal as
might
well.
be. This is going to be the final shape, but I might reprint this. This was kind of a test. This will be a test fit. I might increase the thickness slightly. I'm definitely going to increase. If I did print it again, I'll increase the density. This was at 35%
Okay.
infill.
Oh, that's way more than I normally do because I don't normally do producty stuff at home.
Yeah. So this is kind of what I'm going to be doing, and then it's going to be. Will be covered in fabric,
Yeah.
and then the front will be painted potentially.
Wonderful.
And
How
yeah.
long did that piece take? Because
This-
I know that printer isn't the fastest.
No, I increased the speed from 50 is it millimeters per second
Yeah.
to 80.
Okay.
And it was 3 days, 17 hours.
Bloody hell.
Something I do have a
That is
photo.
quick for
I-
that printer. Last
Is
time
it?
when I did a full size Necron head.
Yeah.
It was about, I'd say, what, 1.5 feet long. That took a week and a half.
A week and a half.
So that in such a short time is amazing. In fairness, though, it is a thin wall section.
Yes.
Mine was
It's 2.5.
solid with infill.
It's 3 days. Sorry, I've just got the timing on it. It's 3 days, 15 hours, 7 minutes, and 24 seconds.
That's all right. That's not bad at all.
Like I said, this was a test, and depending on what audio system, what drivers and things I use, or controllers in general, DACs and things, it depends on if I use this or not. I'm thinking I might not, because I saw a really nice one from their website. They got two, one which you put internally, but it doesn't have it has the same features, just doesn't look as nice.
What I'm hearing is that you can make me one out of this.
Yeah.
And I can
As
have
a
one to
test
go
one.
next to the Tachia.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Okay,
There we
okay.
go.
Yeah.
I'll have the first prints.
Yes. Then yes, you can have this one, because then the other one will have it has better. It's version 2.
Yeah.
I will send you the links and everything for
Very
what I'll
nice.
be using, or potentially be using. It'll need a big cutout at the back, which might affect the audio quality. The only issue.
Yeah.
But it allows me to use Apple AirPlay and potentially use it as my TV speaker for my Apple TV. But that's not that wasn't the main reason as to pick this. It was the fact that it was one of the few easy ways to get a 2.1, as well as the app. Apparently, I've not tried it yet. Will allow me to change the name of put the name of the speaker in.
Okay.
So that when you put it on, for instance, for Spotify, it will come up. When you click
Which
share,
one it is.
it will come up with that name.
The actual
Yeah.
device
Whatever I
name.
pick.
Okay. That's cool.
So that's kind of what I was thinking with this.
No, that's nice.
And that's the test of the print. Yeah, I probably will use it for I'm probably going to use this one for the simple system that I can make,
yeah.
and then reprint it again for the slightly higher end, which means you can control the bass, the volume, and the treble. Whereas I believe on the other one I might not be able to control it as easy.
I did a similar thing upstairs with the extractor for the 3D printers, where I did like a basic thing in PLA.
Mm-hmm.
You see where the stuff isn't quite right, and then you buy the nicer material for the
Yeah.
final one.
I mean,
it's the
worst
sensible way to do it.
the worst thing is this nearly took an entire roll.
Really?
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised.
You'll
that.
I will send you. I'll show you the photos
thing
of
is,
the
like,
final print.
I'm gonna say 35-ish.
40.
Oh, it's so close. Come on, eyeballing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh yes.
It's 40 on the diameter.
OD.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
40 OD. Yes, it's quite a large hemisphere.
Yes. Hence why when Luke was getting rid of his
small.
printer, I said,
I have a project for that.
curiosity, will it
Yeah.
fit this side? Because I actually designed this around the printer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what it was originally was what we call the nerd room was a smaller room upstairs, and I had a custom built bench / work.
It was my
surface.
room, the guest room.
Yeah, the guest room. Yeah, basically. That I got to the point where we had me and Amy's chairs, and they kept butting the backs of each other. And it was so annoying. And then this year, I finally last year actually, I convinced Amy that we could swap the spare rooms over, so we had the bigger room for the nerd room. But I wanted to be more sensible and have a normal standing desk, so the big printer had to go. And then I ended up buying the bamboo labs to go in the airing cupboard because it was the right size.
Which
So
has now been turned
that's-
into a printing farm.
Yeah, that's a print farm with an extractor system built
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is great, really. It's
No
it's not-
longer an airing cupboard.
no, but it's nice for me because when this was running next to the bedrooms, I didn't mind the sound.
No, but
someone else might have been complaining.
I think your
A little
fiance
bit.
had
I-
issues with it.
That's kind of why I only run it on weekends where I'm not here.
Yeah, it's quite noisy.
And
And
especially,
that's with I added in the steps moving inside the control box, which you probably haven't discovered yet.
no, I haven't.
There's little micro steps movers in there, which made it quieter. It was louder.
Yeah, I must say I'm gonna have to change that fan.
Oh, it's the one that catches all the time in the front. I used to have to jump start it when it used to get blocked.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, with a little Allen key.
The idea behind getting that particular printer was, am I going to use it?
Yes.
And before I inevitably, let's be perfectly honest here, get talked into potentially buying the the newer version of what yours is.
Yes, the Bamboo Labs larger one. Is that going to be a similar size?
No, apparently that's only going to be a 35.
Yeah, I'll wait till one
centimetre.
more model up. I'll probably buy that one as well,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I will, but this is going to be a few years before I
Yeah.
do that, and so I might.
Sorry, Greshan is currently trying to balance it on the
Yeah.
smooth side.
Sorry, yes,
Please stop the
Precariously.
chaos.
I lost my train of thought then. Stop playing
Stop the
around.
chaos, please.
It's fine. It's fine.
But yes, this is an update of my speaker,
Very nice.
and also an update on the printer. It's printed well. I will send photos of the final process.
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, this is it's so much nicer to look at compared to most conventional speak systems, which
Yeah.
are just big, blocky, large things staring at you. This is different. It looks clean. It's chic.
There's actually design involved in it.
Yes.
It's not pure function.
No.
Which, in fairness, most people will go, oh, but speakers are meant to be pure function. But yes, but
You're not wrong.
If you're using a speaker and it's in a living space and
Yeah.
it's on display, there needs to be some level of design to make it aesthetic
Yes.
and pleasing.
Yeah.
I like one of the examples is Name, and the people that they work with, they make some quite attractive looking speakers.
That's actually one of the inspirations
Is it?
for to want to design a speaker,
Yeah.
especially the fact that they've got I want a more normal size speakers,
Yes.
whereas they do some very
Very big
Large,
ones.
high-
yes,
yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah.
high end. Whereas
very high end.
this is going to probably have a nice high end ish feel.
Yeah.
It's a stretch, but I'm wanting it to be not as good, but it might be close to the Zeppelin is what I would hope. Which for people who don't know, is like is it Bowen Wilkins speaker, I believe.
I think I know which one you're on about.
I always get confused
It's
between.
like
yes,
it is a Zeppelin shape.
yes, it is. Do you want to just double check I've got
Yeah.
the right name
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
I've looked at so many reviews,
Yeah.
and yet I'm stuck with the home.
I mean, I still
Gen
kind of
1.
want. I still want the name Q, but they do.
Yeah, that's yes.
It's just a basic, nice looking shape. It isn't their high end stuff, but it still looks good.
Is that what you meant?
yeah, that's the correct one.
Yeah.
That is Zeppelin-y shape.
Yeah,
1,000 Wilkins.
and so that's kind of what I don't think I know it's not going to be as good, but because they do have the sub in the middle, but they also have extra tweeters.
Yeah.
So they have they have four.
Right, no, I take that back. 4. Yep.
So they have two. I believe they're the same, which are full range drivers, as well as two tweeters. So they have two full range drivers, two tweeters, and one sub.
It's quite well packaged, I must
It's
say. 'Cause
really well
they've got. I'm looking at a picture here of the Zeppelin without its cover, and yeah, it's just quite neatly packaged up.
That is nice.
It's one of the speakers I've always wanted to get.
Yeah, they packaged tweeter either side of. Is that the base in the middle?
Yes,
So,
so
you
you
woofer in the middle,
yeah.
your two
I believe they're full range.
is
full
smaller.
range, and then your two tweeters. At
Full
the
range
So
subs.
the size goes down as you
Yes,
go out.
exactly.
The idea behind them is your sub does your low frequencies.
Your omnidirectional,
yeah.
low
So
frequency.
it doesn't really matter where you put that.
Yes.
It goes very low. And then you've got your mid range, which is what the full ranges are meant to be. You can get actual mid range drivers, which they probably are because they tailor them directly.
They're fancy.
Yes, they are. And then they also have the two tweeters, which does your
Bird tweets.
your tweets. So that's kind of what they've gone. I've gone that range, but this is version 1 of my first speaker.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping probably 2 and 3 gets even better.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
more
it will always happen. Iteration.
and the more I have a
works.
better understanding of the DACs which control the speakers themselves, the drivers, is the better I'm going to get at them.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool to see. So moving on from your home project, I think this is going to be a sneak peek at a future episode when this goes out,
Yes.
because I have created a World War One trench, which, if you're on video, you can view. It is, for descriptive purposes, it is a 1 foot square plinth made of MDF, which has then got a diagonal trench which has a T-junction. So it's basically a recreation of a T-junction of a trench of World War One. There's also a small bridge across it. I've used different types of barrier on the inside. We've got some wooden planks. We've got some what's it called? Corrugated iron,
Corrugated steel.
corrugated steel. The some of the embankments, which I intentionally made too short, I've then packed full so they're the same height as all the other banks with some little sandbags. So
Basically, if you look at any film
yeah,
that has trenches in from the war,
From World War One. This is it.
It genuinely looks like
it's a
it's
miniature
amazing.
version.
Yeah.
I cannot like describe just in words just how
It's
amazing
so well,
it is.
It's so detailed.
It's
like in the
so
barbed
incredibly
wire.
detailed.
The bit that I'm happy about is when I took a photo from
angle.
this side,
And you
so
got that
the far
picture.
side underneath the bridge,
Yeah.
and directly above it, I put the source. So the reason I did this was because my fiance is a history teacher, and she said, "Oh, when I do World War One, can you do me a trench?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" Because I could also use this for Trench Crusade, of course.
Oh yes.
And you can almost match it up shot by shot with the source she uses for the students, which is brilliant because it means that when she can take it into school, she can actually set her little webcam up to go into it to show it like the shot that they're going to have in front of you, which is nice. We've also added in some detail around here, so this is going to be a shell where shells hit the ground. And I was requested to add a skull in to represent someone who'd been left in the trenches because
Yes.
can't be too gory.
Well, I mean, to be fair, as historically represented, they weren't able to recover all the bodies from.
No, they used to just leave them where
Yes.
where they were. So yeah, we've got a little skull there. We've got some shrapnel, some sandbags falling down that area.
The resin that you've put on to make
Yeah,
it
the
look like
water, like
yes.
the standing water, looks so incredibly good.
So to get standing water on the model, I've used a mixture of clear UV resin, and then I have a selection of acrylic inks. So I used a little tiny bit of brown, so it looks a bit muddy.
Yep.
Mixed in. And then I precariously balanced my UV torch above it for a good 30 minutes to make sure it was all dry, because when you put resin in with ink, it takes a little while. And on top of that, we've also got a little section of no man's land on the front. So for the barricade itself, that is the first time I've actually used this stuff. It's quite good. But
pretty
it's miniature fake barbed wire, which I believe is actually a type of wire used in some form of telecommunication,
Okay.
which looks about right. That many model companies seem to repackage and buy in. And then the little sticks. Do you want to guess what they'll use for the little the fence posts?
They're too thick to be toothpicks.
I would say the cocktail sticks.
They're a bit too thick.
It's matchsticks.
Oh, without the
wow.
heads, you just snap the heads off.
Well, actually, I found somewhere ages ago that's just sold matchsticks without the head for modelling purposes and crafts for like kids.
Very smart.
And they're like the perfect size for little
yeah.
fences. I've actually used them before as well. I also did a little, I did a miniature of a young lad in World War II flying a toy Spitfire.
Very nice.
And I built a little fence out of the matchsticks for it, which is quite nice.
Can
yeah,
I touch the barbed wire?
Yeah, so yeah, that was, I think it was World War Scenics barbed wire, which was a new one for me. It's nice and springy as well, so if you catch it, it will just pop back up.
There's nothing sharp to it.
No. And
But from a distance, it looks legit.
the other interesting thing that I discovered by
looks
doing
like
this,
it could fall, like you could brush it away.
Yeah.
yeah, it is some of it was a little bit loose. So I've already got a video on YouTube now, which I've had live for a few years, but it's my mud mix. So for all the muddy terrain, I always use a mixture of tea from tea bags, coffee, and a little bit of sand.
Nice.
And if you mix those together, well, if you just use sand, it looks good, but you don't get the different sizes of particle on
Like
it.
it's not
Different-
clumped together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You get like longer pieces in the tea. And then with the coffee, if you use it and don't oversaturate it, it works as large rocks. So you get a nice mixture of textures when you use it.
It just looks more realistic.
so
It
good.
looks just way more authentic.
The way you've done it is, it looks like you could actually have like different tiles.
Yeah.
So this is one of the tiles that I've done like this. So there's also crap pipes, which also it's the one I talked about last time. It uses toilet rolls, but it uses the same texture, and it's also on a 1 foot board. So the idea is, after I've done say a year, 2 years on the YouTube doing different videos, I should have enough to do an entire wargame table on this version. And the other version that I do is I do the fancy one. I always use a autumn meadow, so I can then push those all together and have a fantasy table.
very
Is the
nice.
idea. So when we do have the studio, there will be some Canax units filled with these things, because over time we need someone to store them. At the moment, I genuinely have no idea where this is going because I have on no storage.
Yep.
But the other shout I would like to say is I bought the sandbags, and these are a new discovery from me. I think it was from Green Stuff World. They're little tiny sacks filled with actual sand, which are designed so that you essentially have paper mache water, PVA, and water mixed together. You saturate them for a little bit, and then you stack them up on top of each other,
And that's where they set.
and that's how they set.
That's really good. That's clever.
That's a really clever idea.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see on the camera, but there's like little, I suppose, like rocks and.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the rocks. The rocks are mixtures of cork pieces. I've got some actual. I think there's some bits of slate. Yeah, that's cold. You can touch it and it feels colder. There's little bits of wood that was left over after I did the bridge. There's all sorts mixed up. But when you paint it, you can't really tell that it's all different materials, which is quite nice.
It's like even, I know, it's little detail, but like how this bag here is partially covered.
Yeah, I did. There's actually another one that is so covered that I ended up painting it in mud because it just disintegrated into the barrier after I did it. So yeah.
But like it looks like you could have like one that goes next to it that
Yeah.
follows the same contour and just goes flat.
So I was thinking about doing something like that for when I do things like Trench Crusade.
This is what I was
'Cause
thinking.
this is a Trench Crusade basically.
This is perfect for it.
Because you could have the humans,
Yes.
Humans and then
and then over here you could have.
Well, I mean, if you were to have multiple tiles of this, you could literally have. You could theoretically, if you went for quite a long map, you could have one side of the trenches be one war party, other war party. You can have
Another
some ghosts there, but then you can have a bunch in the middle in no man's land. and that could be like craters, and there's so much that can be done with it. It
I
looks super
definitely want to try and do some creators and stuff and some videos.
Definitely.
But yeah, if you are watching this and you do watch my other stuff that I do on YouTube, let me know what kind of stuff you'd like to see. I'm always open to suggestions. Like this was a challenge that was set, I think, on like the Thursday, and by the Friday, all the bits had arrived from Amazon, and I was building it on the weekend. And you know why? Because I just loved it. It was a great idea, and not only that, it's gonna get, even if I don't play Trench Crusade or Warhammer that much, it's gonna get used by the class, which is nice to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. I've done this. There's some more videos in the pipeline as well, which I've been working on. There's the Easter special is now finished. That's ready for Easter week. I've also done a secondary semi-Easter special as well.
Oh.
So yeah, which
boy.
so I've done dragon eggs and I've done a demonic Easter bunny.
I've seen that one.
You guys have something coming.
Do you know what? It is something.
It's a thing of nightmare.
But the way you've done it is very well done.
Turned out so well.
Yeah, lots of swearing, which has been cut from the video as I try and sculpt things the correct way.
Nice.
I believe that segues nicely because we're kind of touching on gaming into our next segment of Geeking Out. So, firstly, do you want me to read first or do you want to explain first? Because this is our Warhammer second half special, so that I know not everybody enjoys Warhammer, so what we decided is we're going to group it together for this special and maybe bring it up in the future at some point.
I think let's have you read the intro.
Okay.
Again, because I think there's a lot to unpack within it.
Sure.
And then we'll properly delve into it.
So, this book that I just put in front of me is Warhammer Rogue Trader 40,000. This is the original version of Warhammer with Rick Presley's writing and drawings in it.
All the way from which decade?
1980 something or the other.
So old.
Oh no, this is a 1992.
You can
print.
tell it's very much of its era,
Yeah.
style-wise.
Oh no, but the cover art was done in 1987, so it was 87. This must be a second print of the same edition.
You know, is it He-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that style.
It's very
So
similar.
it wouldn't surprise me if they got the style off this.
Comic books.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, this was kind of done as a joke originally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because fantasy was in. And this was done like, oh, we might as well try a sci-fi thing. It'll be fun. Yeah, we'll do it silly. Have like space
then
dwarfs and stuff.
Took off.
And then
so
it took
seriously.
off and overtook the fantasy.
The thing is, it's
Still going.
Yeah, but it is Warhammer itself has inspired
Yes.
a lot of.
It's funny because this ripped off so much at the time. So it's like the big circle.
Yeah, they all help inspire each other.
So I'll read the introduction from the original version now. In the deepest, darkest Warhammer voice I can muster. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inextinguishable... inexhaustible armies. Dyslexia is great. I'll cut that bit out. No, I won't.
We're keeping that bit.
That's for the bloopers.
He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, to whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, and for whom blood is drunk and flesh eaten. Human blood and human flesh, the stuff of which the Imperium is made. To be a man in such times is to be the one amongst the untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. This is the tale of these times. Sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it?
No, it's a good outlook of life, you know.
It is a universe you can live today if you dare, for this is a dark and terrible era where you will find little comfort or hope. If you want to take part in the adventure, then prepare yourself now. Forget the power of technology, science, and common humanity, Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for there is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. But the universe is a big place, and whatever happens, you will not be missed.
See?
It's quite a different
Dun,
end to
dun,
the new one.
Positive outlook on life.
Yep. Sign me up. I want to be there now.
So, yeah, that is the original description from Rogue Trader. So, Rogue Trader, which I'm going to tell you now because you have no idea about this question, and I'm going to ask you to describe. This is somewhere between Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer 40,000 as we know now. So, originally it was more of an RPG.
Right.
It's evolved into more of a strategic war game.
Yep.
I think that happened around 2nd and 3rd edition. And I bought this solely because the artwork is gorgeous, and I was just curious as to how it began originally. So I got hold of this. But we do also have, I think it's the 9th edition. I don't think I've got 10th. This one, the bit I will read from it, which is very different, is at the very end, they've now just summarized, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Sounds about right.
It's less immersive. Because it's less of an RPG. That's something I would like to note. So, yeah. So, I know that you have been essentially studying up thanks to the glorious podcast known as Lorehammer. And being indoctrinated by me and John with Darktide and Space Marine. So have you watched the Amazon yet?
Yes.
Yes, and the Amazon. There we go.
Yeah, of course.
He is immersed. This boy has got Warhammer thriving through his veins.
No. Somewhat. No.
Our
He's
challenge
just
is
slightly
today-
interested.
It is no. To be fair, it's I haven't found myself interested in the actual game. If you know what I mean. Like
it's the universe and the world.
The universe. It's so. I mean, first of all, I'm a avid reader of books.
Yeah.
So like seeing the level of detail that all of this has been done to is insane over all the years as well.
I'm going to be interested to see if you pick up the chapter books they've done at some point, because I have heard very good things about the Horus Heresy books.
Yes.
I know that I think John's read a lot, and then I've got another friend who's currently started and has ended up buying the 30k game because of it. So it's quite funny.
I mean,
But I just want to before we lose complete track, I want you, as in layman's terms, to try and describe the setting of 40k, the fractions that you've learnt about, but in short. So don't go too in depth.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think the things that interest you the most, because a lot of people listening probably aren't into Warhammer at all, and they thought of it as, oh, it's that nerdy thing that neckbeards go down the local games workshop and play, and I never want to touch it.
Sounds about right.
But it's not just that anymore. It's because I never touched it until 2019. I was like almost 30, and I went, oh, this looks pretty cool, and I picked it up and I went, oh no, that is pretty cool actually.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Here we go. No pressure.
Please hold while Greshan gathers his
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
Please insert the
Gathers
dial-up
his
sound
thoughts.
here.
Yeah.
It's just buffering side, just on my face. No, I suppose we can start from pre-modern era, or like in our century.
Yeah.
Effectively, humanity kind of effectively goes on as is, progressing technology
To the golden age of technology.
to the golden age of technology, where we have things as AI, and ultimately things go wrong.
Yeah, like all good AI films.
Just think of any bog standard AI film where the AI takes over. It's like, nah,
See? Positive future.
positive future.
Positive
We're gonna
energy.
take out the creators.
Posy vibes.
Posy vibes. Classic case of AI wanting to kind of take out the creators, turns into an all-out war, which spans all the way, I believe. So, yes, I was going to say, I just realized we we keep calling this Warhammer 40k. The 40k, the 40k stands for the 40,000 years. So, so everything, everything that we generally talk about 40k wise is everything that's happening after the 40,000 years, in that kind of set period, I suppose. So, correct me if I'm wrong on the dates, Luke. The golden age of technology was pre 30k.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are right. I don't know what's happened to my computer, but it's gone like a million times. Zoom.
No, you're fine. I mean, effectively, humanity did end up, risking it all effectively against AI, and that's when this, I believe, that is when the Emperor
He stood up and went, nah.
he stood up and said, "You know what, lads, you want to win this war? All right, you got to do it
Right,
properly.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
Come on, lads.
Stop playing around. Roll up your sleeves, sort it out."
So M15 to M25 was the dark age of technology.
Yes, and
also known as the age of technology.
When was that year's war? Sorry.
Millennium 15 to 25.
Yeah.
So
Bear in mind, we're currently millennium 2.
Yes. Well
No.
done.
It is a classic case of you always say, "Are we
Is it
technically millennium 1?" Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. To
I know.
me.
No. Because
we could act stupid on this.
no,
It's a
because-
case of
because-
who the hell gave this guy a microphone.
Because I believe Lawhammer said the same thing. They were like, we talk about 40k, but technically this all happened in the 39,000th year, all the way up to, so between 39,000 and 40,000. You're just like, why is it called 40k then?
Oh, you round up.
Yeah, you round up.
You like maths?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
No, apparently we're in the third millennium. I did that. I just did a Google.
All
And it
right.
told
Okay.
me
Okay. There
we're
you
in
go.
M3 right now.
Right.
This is a long
Cool.
way away.
Well,
Hopefully
either
we
way,
don't live to see it.
like this, like all of this is happening so far away in the future.
Yeah.
So 15th millennium all the way to the 25th millennium, we've got Dark Age technologies. That's a lot of millennia for us to be in.
It's one or
war.
two. 3 or 4 years.
Just a couple of, just a couple of generations
The
of
first
family.
awful war of Warhammer was nowhere near Warhammer.
Now, that happens during that space of time. Emperor says, right, okay, we need to stop this. He rounds everyone up effectively, organizes them, and takes the fight and does end up winning during the Dark Age, or towards the end of the Dark Age of technology. Now, this had plenty of consequences post the Dark Age of technology, because after that everyone was terrified of anything technological. So anything that vaguely seemed smart, even if it wasn't necessarily AI, it was deemed to be illegal, effectively.
Yeah.
Or heresy.
Yeah. There was a brief moment like in these books there are like robots, but I think they're dumb robots. The one that, have you got to the weird creatures one on Lawhammer yet, where they talk about Bombot?
I don't think I've seen
Poor Bombot. It's just a bomb on tracks that drives towards the enemy and blows up.
Nice.
Good old Bombot. But yeah, we
Solid.
use dumb stuff. Still.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, there are certain creatures like the Adeptus Mechanicus, who are I'm trying to remember the exact description, but I believe the Adeptus Mechanicus live on Mars.
Correct. Yeah, good job. Good
God.
job.
I was too busy going, yes, nodding my head going, yes, Greshan. Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to trip up.
They have very good understanding of technology. They actually build a lot of the Imperiums, the Imperium being humanity, a lot of the Imperium's ships, weapons, and I suppose
Closely on the side. Who's their mechanical god?
and I suppose bringing back online old technology which doesn't go against the rules of.
Yeah. If they discover it, it seems to be fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit sketchy,
Yeah.
but
They look back and find stuff, and then they say it's an ancient relic. Basically, it's almost like a religious relic
yes,
for
but,
them.
But it is quite entertaining. You'll watch them, like turn on effectively a computer, but you'll have a religious priest there with a smoker, reciting prayers before they turn the computer on, because that's how much damage had been done over the dark age of technology.
That's what happens with my work laptop.
Yes, if it turns on,
Yeah.
yep.
I'm getting the
Praise
candles
me.
out now. Yeah. It's like, the blue screen. Right, get the candles out.
Right,
Come on.
okay. Who's being sacrificed today? It's gonna be needed.
Give us a psyker. Come on. Where are they? Oh, there you are. Jono, come on.
All right, okay. Dark Age technology, Emperor's taken over.
Yeah.
So Emperor's taken over, and he's like, you know what? I want full control. Am I wrong?
I'm just checking because you're going further back than I remember. You can carry on.
Okay, well,
keep talking.
effectively, he wanted full control of our first started off with our solar system. It then went on to be our galaxy. So by this point, we'd what's it called? It's already far enough in the future that we had space travel. We were already sending humans to different planets, taking over different areas.
I believe it was like during the war he became
So there's
known.
There's
Yes.
a little bit you missed out, and this is something that I've only recently found out actually from the podcast that we listened to, and that's before he takes over fully, there's essentially all the nations of Earth have their own war,
Yes.
and it's like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they all have barbarians.
Yeah.
It's where it's the era. Well, according to written scripture, is
Oh,
what
yeah,
we should
it's the
say.
great scriptures of Games Workshop.
It is that the Earth was very much like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Then the Emperor came along, and during the war of the
Human on human.
the human
Excuse me.
war, the human squared war.
Yes.
He basically gained a name for himself.
Gain
Yeah.
notoriety.
The Age of Strife.
Yes. That's
And then, as you correctly said, he then started to create the
Thunder Warriors, which become the Space Marines.
yes, the Empire began.
Yes.
The start of the conquest.
I mean, if you think about what he wanted to achieve, he wanted humans to win.
Yes.
Yep.
He didn't want. He was very anti-religious.
Yep.
So, and he was also anti-Xenos. Now, Xenos is aliens. So
Anyone that's not human.
I mean, it's basically racist, isn't it?
It's racism in the future.
Yes, in the future. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just humans versus anything else. Anything that wasn't human has to go.
Yes.
Has to go. Now, they do technically break that rule a fair few times, where they have allied themselves with certain what's it called?
Races.
Certain races.
Species.
Certain species, if they were either really simple or if they provided something that was very useful.
Yes, that's
to
all
the
it was.
Imperium.
It was. Can you help the Imperium grow?
Yes, if not, we're going to eradicate you.
Yeah.
And we're talking eradication all the way from full-on ground assault to we're going to blow up your planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to bear in mind at this time, I believe, might have to do a bit of Googling at some point.
Oh, I've got the full timeline up, my dude.
Nice.
I am ahead.
The humans at this time were the most powerful
Yes.
in that they had the. Is it the
I
dreadnought?
think we're the only ones that were like in the universe at this technical point, I believe.
I think at this
Other than the-
technological level,
Yeah.
yes. That's
Because
because the
We hadn't yet had the birth of Slanesh,
No,
the
no,
first
no.
big god to come into the universe.
That comes in
Yeah.
a little bit later.
Yeah, which is when the aliens start to appear.
Yes.
Mostly.
I mean, yeah. It's just to have a quick discussion about the Emperor.
Emperor.
For the Emperor. I'll say the rumor has it he's not human.
Yep.
I cannot remember for the life in me.
How he was born?
I don't know if anybody really knows.
There's the scripture.
Yes, well, the scripture
scripture.
versus what he actually
Yes.
is. Rumor has it he's immortal, and some of the theories are he is of the war before creation.
Yeah.
I can never remember what the full. It was like.
I
It
think
makes
it's-
this war look pathetic.
I think it's in this version of the book it talks about the most, because it's like when it's first trying to line it out. I haven't gone through it yet.
But,
There was rumors of he was like various historical figures in
Yes,
time as
yeah.
well.
There've been like he was Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
He was
The most
Adolf
influential.
Hitler.
Yeah. Every influence throughout
Every-
time that
Every bad
Yeah.
influence in general
yeah,
that was
basically.
effectively seeking to take over the world.
Because rumor has it. Rumor. The theory of the fandom, should we say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that what is the actual name of them? They're like gods, but not. They live in a higher plane.
the old ones.
Yes.
Oh,
It's
yes.
that it was that
Yes.
war is
Yes,
what they
the War of
think.
the Old Ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like non-human chronology
Yeah.
Yes.
history. Because on the one that I found is mainly I think the human bit. Yeah, it is. And
Sorry,
then-
that's just from your the same podcast I ended up going
Yeah.
down.
Oh, have you all started? Oh, that's hilarious.
I went through a tangent.
Warhammer, we love you. Keep doing it. I love that you're back.
I went through one where I was just doing lots of CAD and things. I was like, I've got to have something on in the background.
They are
I mean,
entertaining.
they effectively have like 20 to 30 episodes just going through the rough intro of everything to Warhammer. That isn't even going into detail. But
The warp is an ocean.
no, whoa. We haven't got there.
So I suppose we'll let you. We'll let you continue.
Yes, continue.
Jesus. You've got effectively Emperor's vision is unite all of humanity under his rule, and just take over the universe.
Yeah.
He wants humanity to prosper.
Yes,
That-
prosper is
prosper-
the important point at this
Prosper is
point.
the key word. And in order to do this,
Free mass genocide.
of other races,
The tidying up of the universe.
Yes, the
Space Hitler.
the cleanse of the
Right.
universe.
No.
Don't mention the chambers.
He effectively kind of looked at, I suppose, the army that he had and realized it wasn't going to do. Which is when he started delving into the world of, I suppose, bioengineering to create warriors. And I believe he started these with the Thunder Warriors.
Thunder.
Now,
He-Man.
this was the beginning of what would eventually become the Astartes.
Yeah. They're like the early prototypes.
Early prototypes.
They're not
Yeah.
perfect.
Mark 0.5.
They got thunder armor, which is not quite power
So
armor.
they're the
It's still
sort of
good
alpha
armor.
version. They're not quite ready for release.
Pre-alpha.
Yeah.
Pre-alpha.
Pre-alpha release.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the grimy like versions.
Yeah, effectively. But then he, I mean, immediately these guys were not human-like.
Yep.
They were stronger. They were faster. They were taller.
Yeah.
They were just significantly larger.
Had silly hats.
Silly.
Have you not seen the model?
No, have you got the?
Oh,
could
I'll
you
bring
get?
it up for
Don't
anyone
see
on
the
video. The Thunder Warrior model is friggin' hilarious.
Oh dear.
They've got these giant like red plumes on their helmets.
That seems incredibly.
It's very Roman.
Roman, yeah.
Where's the original model? That looks awful. I've got one upstairs to paint.
I must say, I've never actually looked into how
Right, so let me
how they
describe
started,
It's
how the emperor got started with
It's
his
a
army.
World War II
Oh.
Nazi officer helmet with a giant red plume sticking out of
You
it.
see, so this is the reason why when we call the Emperor Space Hitler, we're not really incorrect.
No, we're
There's a
very
lot of Nazi tendencies.
Not when you
Yeah.
see that. It's like,
Yeah,
It's a bit flamboyant.
Yes,
Hitler-y.
yes.
incredibly.
it's
Flamboyant Hitler.
It's mixed with a dash of the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire. See, this is why he's Hitler Caesar.
Yeah. So he kind of starts off with them. I think at the same time he starts also playing around with creating his own personal guard, being custodes. Like the man is working on
Is it
multiple
custodes
different.
or is it custodes? Does anyone actually know the
I-
pronunciation?
I always thought it was custodes.
I go by custodes.
Interesting, because I think Lawhammer say both.
Because custodes sounds so wrong.
I know it sounds like an American version, right?
It sounds like you're missing half. It's just custode.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's like so. Oh, like, what army do you mainly run? I run custodes. You're just like, no, it sounds wrong.
Custodes.
Custodes.
I've seen custodes now.
Anyway, custodes. We divulge into pronunciation
Yeah.
of words again.
So, effectively, it starts with Thunder Warriors. We're going to quickly kind of go past that. He makes different versions.
Yeah.
He makes different versions. He improves on them. He gets to the Astartes, the Space Marines.
Yeah.
Now, this is the moment when he was like, I'm going to make all these many different factions of Space Marines, and I believe he makes 20 factions. Luke.
I actually don't.
that sounds about
I
right.
actually do not know.
So he makes 20. I know two or three of them are unspoken about. And there's reason for that. And there's also not reason for that.
The reason is because I said so.
Pretty much by Games Workshop.
18 named.
Yeah.
20 legions. That is a good memory.
Well
on
done.
Yes!
Top banana.
Two of them. So he creates them, and he needs kind of someone to run each one, and he wants kind of each one to have kind of like specific abilities, maybe not specific abilities, but have specific reasons or skills that they're good at, and he decides to use his own genome.
Yeah.
So he's going to create these
The gene seed.
the gene seed. He's going to create these 20 I wouldn't say clones. of himself.
Demigods?
Demigods, effectively.
Demigod clone
if
things.
you were to think of, the Emperor at this point is, immortal, has lived for all this millennia, been alive, never died, and yeah, he effectively wanted to create mini versions of himself.
Yep.
So this is where I suppose we need to introduce the concept of the warp.
Well, I think there's a little bit like happens in a similar time that you've skipped past, but it's not your fault. It's probably not been mentioned. But there's also the fall of the Eldar,
Yes.
which happens around the same time. So I'll do that bit.
Yeah, you go for it.
The Eldar are basically space elves.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go with that. That's
No,
what they're originally based
honestly,
on
it's
when
the
they
best
did
way
the
of
first
putting it.
version. They end up in separated as Eldar and Dark Eldar. The Dark Eldar are essentially, they want everything to excess. So they start off with wanting food. They would eat more and more food until they're like morbidly obese. Basically, they
Want
start
more
off.
money,
They start off with like
greed.
sex.
Yeah.
They go full on like murder butt sex.
Yep.
It just cuts straight through to the chase.
Yep.
And what happens is they birth a god of excess. So that creates something called the Eye of Terror.
The Eye of Terror being effectively
Warp rift.
a rift in the center or in part of the universe.
I always think of it as like the time tunnel in Doctor Who.
Yes.
It's like a wibbly wobbly timey wimey rift
Yeah.
that they create. And
It's everything and everything
Yeah.
and anything that's ever happened or will
Yeah,
happen.
And
Yeah.
what happens
Has
is basically
happened.
the universe is exposed to this thing they've never seen before. It's called the warp.
And it starts to change everything.
Yeah, it changes everything. You have gods, literal gods, walking the planes of existence.
You have demons.
and demons.
Demons, like, just careening out of the rift, attacking anything.
So that is the first of the gods. They evolve over time, and it's mixed into the history to the point that I do not know off by heart enough to know.
Now, the Emperor at this point, obviously, whilst being an incredible warrior, was also known to be incredibly strong in the world of psychic arts, which is incredibly important, especially when defending yourself
Yeah.
from the warp. But also at the same time, it effectively acts as a beacon as well.
Light the beacon.
So, this, I believe, is is written down in concrete for now. We'll see if Games Workshop override it.
Yeah.
No,
But
they
I
won't do that.
believe the Emperor effectively enters the warp, makes a deal where he comes back with a little bit more power, and that's what effectively allows him to actually become more powerful, but also allows him to create the gene seed for the 20
The final version.
the final version of
So
all
I
this.
can't remember that far back because that was a long time ago I learned about that. That sounds right.
Yeah.
So I'll let you pass.
I'll let me pass. Like either way, there was some kind of tampering of Emperor and the Warp. This wasn't pure the Emperor just on his own. He had meddled with something with the Warp, and they think there might have been a deal made with him and some of the gods within the Warp. Either way, this happens. He's effectively creating these 20 demigods in tubes.
Yeah.
Before catastrophe occurs, members of Xenos and members of the Warp of Chaos actually attack the facility, which at the time is on the moon. Yeah, that's a fun one. They attack that one, and in doing so, all 20 of the demigods are lost. They're all lost.
Yes, all of the Primarchs.
All the Primarchs. So these are the Primarchs. So basically, you got the Emperor with these legions, these 20 legions that he's created of these amazing soldiers, who are all looking for a Primarch to lead them, because they're meant to have a Primarch, but they don't. So then they proceed to go on, one of their many, many great crusades.
They go to chat with other species.
Of course.
A gentle
Of course.
chat,
They just wanted to go see what the neighbours were like across the rest of the universe. And in doing so, they, every now and then, if they were lucky, they found certain Primarchs. With the Emperor being as psychically powerful as he was, he could sense them if they were in relatively close proximity, and they would go look for them. So, for instance, I can't remember the name of exactly which one, but there was one. I believe he was the Primarch of the Salamanders. He was on a planet which was like very, very honorable, all about like the greatest warriors, the person who kind of runs or who rules.
Vulcan.
Yes, I believe this is the story of Vulcan. The Emperor kind of pops down to the planet. Is like, right, I'm your father. Come join me on my crusade. And Vulcan is like, nah, hell nah. You didn't bring me up, because he was brought up on his planet. And basically he put together a challenge. He was like, right, if whichever one goes and I believe kills the largest salamander dragon effectively,
Yeah.
which were on these planets.
If you can't guess, the salamanders are very lizard themed.
Yes, and bring them back, alive. Well, you got back alive. You're the winner. Now, Vulcan goes, kills one first, kills quite a large one, and he's on his way. But as he's on his way, effectively something happens where he ends up falling off a cliff, and he's holding on, holding on to the top of the cliff, whilst holding on to his salamander, holding on to the dragon. And he was there. He was like, right, cool. This is where I die, I suppose. Nothing to do. And then,
Oh no, what could I do?
no. He couldn't get up. He was stuck. He was stuck. It was a precarious situation, I'm sure.
Precarious.
And then he sees the Emperor waltz by with a bigger dragon that he'd killed. And the Emperor drops the dragon, which proceeds to fall down the pit, and actually he ends up saving his son, the Vulcan. And the Vulcan also grabs onto the dragon that he'd killed. So obviously when they went back to the city, they're like, oh, Vulcan won. he actually killed it. But Vulcan was so honorable because he knew he'd lost. He'd seen the Emperor had killed an even bigger one and had made it alive and had saved him and technically pulled him and a dragon off the cliff. And yeah, so once again, this is what happens. They kind of go around to all these different planets, finding different lost Primarchs, reuniting them with.
I believe it's the Great Crusade, isn't
The
it?
Great Crusade, yes.
It's a case of, oh, hi, I'm your father, and here's an army.
Have an army.
Sometimes it didn't go as well. So that was quite a pleasant experience. There were some other ones where he turned up and his son was on a planet that was basically perpetually at war, and his son was on the losing side, but they were fighting courageously. And just before basically the son was kind of going to go back into battle, well, they were already fighting. The Emperor just from space just teleported him out of the planet onto his ship, and the son just had to watch his side get completely decimated, just completely destroyed. And obviously that can be quite yeah. So he he took it on the chin a little bit, but it was definitely very, very angry.
You've sucked up so much information, it's insane.
Yeah. so that's just two examples. You got one case where it went well, one case where it went bad, and this was pretty much the case for all of them. Like some of them went really, really well, some went really, really badly. They just weren't all pleasant.
So he gets all the Primarchs back. Most of them
gets
anyway.
all the Primarchs back. Most of them. There are certain Primarchs that we don't talk about because Games Workshop has said so.
Games Workshop says no. Not yet.
Yes,
that will
not
be
yet,
a secret reveal one year when they need some more cash.
Yes, when the cash reserves are running low, we shall bring out the 19th Legion or whatever. But there are rumors. There were rumors about that Littlehammer go through. But that, if you want to listen to that, go listen to Littlehammer.
The next one is the 30k bit, right?
Yes. So this is known as the Horus Heresy.
It is.
Now,
Dun, dun,
now Horus was the first Primarch found.
Yeah. You were number one.
He was number one, and in doing so, became kind of the Emperor's favorite.
Yeah.
And he actually, the Emperor actually made him. He actually put him in charge of basically the War Council, effectively. So he was running things, which meant that technically all the other brothers kind of had to report into, which is already a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that's what was happening.
Bravo.
But during this time, oh yes, so towards the tail end of the Great Crusade, before it gets to 30k, the Emperor effectively says, "All right, lads, I'm done with Crusades. I'm gonna go back work on my secret project."
Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, the secret project is another thing to go into. We're not going to go into that.
No.
So basically he says, you know what, I'm done with war.
I'm done with war.
You lot keep going on with the Crusade.
I'm done with war, but do you know what? You lot
keep going on.
do it.
I'm gonna bugger off. You're not gonna speak to me. You're not gonna hear from me.
Nah.
That's about it. Goodbye. Even though I'm your dad, I'm out.
That's serious daddy issues.
Serious daddy issues, because he also then put Horus in charge.
Yeah.
So already you've kind of got the other people, the other brothers. Some of them, but if some of them, if they were close to Horus, they were like, okay, this is fine. I can work with this. Some of them not being too happy. But effectively, whilst this was happening, Horus had people under him within his legion, and the guy's name starts with a D. His name evades me, but he was quite
Call him Dickhead.
Von Dickhead. Let's go with Von Dickhead. Now, Von Dickhead.
Here we go.
Effective.
Davin. No.
Davin.
I don't know. I'm just looking at names. I'm trying to find things that begin with D.
You have Horus. You have all the other
maybe
names.
not. Maybe
Davin.
not. Maybe not. But effectively, it was someone within his legion who grew to become like Horus's most trusted advisors, basically.
Dave.
who effectively, he was involved in like the cults that kind of looked to what's called the warp, basically. Now, at the time, if you think about what the emperor had preached and taught at that point, no religions,
Yeah.
no xenos,
Yeah, I am not a god. No religion.
yes, and
He's not
no,
a god, he's a very naughty
no
boy.
heresy. Simple as that.
So straight away they do heresy.
So straight away, you've got this advisor who's like, right, mate,
Dave.
heresy's great.
Yeah.
Dave is making. He's cooking up some plans.
I mean, the thing is, they never actually understood the extent of what the warp was.
Yeah.
But once again, that's what the warp was. It was temptation.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Temptation of power.
It's like the US military and nuclear power and bombs.
Yeah.
Temptation.
Yeah,
What could it possibly do? Oh, look, he's growing a third arm. Oh, that's not good.
But effectively, this is kind of what happened, and they effectively the gods of the warp started to have deals with Horus, and it was actually conversing with him.
They sit down. It's like Alan and Sugar at Apprentice
Yeah,
episode. They go, "You're fired. You're good."
They popped over to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, sat down for a steak, and chatted war. It was great.
Yeah.
It was chill. But in doing so, they effectively filled Horus's head with ideas of grandeur. You could be your father. You could replace him.
I am your father.
Exactly.
Not quite.
Now everyone knew. Horus knew that there was no way he could take the emperor on his own with just him and his legion. So he started a scouting mission effectively to figure out which of his brothers were on his side. And funnily enough, you end up with a pretty even split.
Oh.
It's almost like it needs to be a perfectly evenly split war game.
Do
Do you know what they
you
need to write
say
some
that?
books about
They
this?
should write some books about this.
Yeah, but-
And maybe a game that's like on the tabletop.
Yeah, but you say that, but like once like the full war effectively started,
They all get annihilated.
all the good Primarchs got annihilated.
Well, yeah.
The good Primarchs, the good legions, they got
That's so they
absolutely
can come back
annihilated.
later when they get need more money.
Whenever, yeah. it's
They brought a few back.
it's actually a shame.
Son of Gilliman.
Because the one Primarch that there's once again forgotten his name, really annoying, but he was like the next strongest psychic Primarch, and he started getting inklings that Horus was planning this massive betrayal, and he couldn't. There was no way of getting communication to Earth, or Terra, as it's called, which is where the Emperor was working on his secret project.
Was he at Mount Everest? I believe there's a.
Uh,
He was on like top of a mountain,
was-
just
it was
random.
Magnus the Red.
yes.
Oh, that was it. He was the. Is it Thousand Suns?
Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
Because Thousand Suns were the religious ones, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And it honestly, it was so like this is a story of just
Daddy issues.
no.
Mistrust.
No, Magnus ultimately got fucked over because he did the right thing.
Wait, was
Yeah.
no? Hang on a minute. Was Magnus not the? Just quick. I thought Magnus the Red was one that was.
He's the horny one. It's
Yeah.
quite funny.
Oh wait, no. In that case, I'm not.
I
talking
thought
about Magnus.
Hor.
It
No,
was- I believe it was.
I thought I could be wrong. Was Horus not on the side and Magnus was the?
No. So the guy who I'm thinking of.
Magnus the Red and the Imperial warship Einstein warned the Emperor of Horus heresy. I don't know. Horus's treachery.
Yes, you had Magnus being the second strongest psychic in the entire universe after the Emperor. So he creates a psychic projection. Now, to break through all the psychic barriers that the Emperor had placed around Earth, he had to smash Terra. He had to smash through all of them. In doing so, he basically exposed the Emperor's secret project. Now, the Emperor's secret project was gonna effectively it meant complete what's it called, lack of using the warp. Basically, the Emperor wanted to move to a point where the universe and humanity could survive without any use of the warp.
Because they're currently reliant on psychers.
Yes, because right now, with the Eye of Terror, they needed the warp to travel far distances. That was what was needed. But that was the Emperor's project. And in doing so, in Magnus breaking all the psychic barriers, he actually exposed his project to orders of chaos, and demons just kept flooding in, and they basically messed up the project that the Emperor was trying to do to save humanity. Emperor finally turns around, says, "Right,
He's excited.
all right, you messed up. You're obviously on that side." So poor Magnus, even though he tried to warn the Emperor, gets fucked over and has to go join Horus. Effectively, massive war across the universe. Chaos is involved. You have all the different gods of the warp getting involved and messing everything up, making it really difficult. But ultimately, it does end up with a face down between the Emperor and Horus. Horus, who's buffed up on all of the warp god's energy that they'd given him powers. The Emperor makes the final decision. I'm not going to just kill you, because he knew that he could kill the Primarch, but a small part of him will come back in the warp and could grow to come back again.
Because he has a legion loyal to him.
So he killed him in the real world, and also used his energy to kill him, to eviscerate him from the warp.
Yeah.
In doing so, it left the Emperor crippled, with no energy. Most people think he's dead. He is not. My theory.
Nah, he's having a nap.
And ever since then, the Emperor sits on something called the Golden Throne.
Yeah.
Where they sacrifice 1,000 psychers.
Something like that.
that.
Insane amount of psychers die
Every single day, just to keep him alive.
It started off with a loyal psyker.
Yeah.
So the irony here is the man that didn't want a religion now basically has praised and has a religion around him and become a god.
Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about how Magnus was not betraying, but was trying to help, and then got
Effed in the A.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, how dare you use your energy to warn me about the thing that's going to kill me?
It was such a shame.
Yeah.
It was such a shame because, like, there was only good intentions.
The other funny thing is, if you actually see a picture of him,
Magnus.
he's basically a red devil with massive horns, but they hate Xenos. Where did that design come from, Games Workshop?
I mean, I find funny, this is what I really find interesting. If the Emperor's alive on the throne, he's also a religion.
Yeah.
That means there's two emperors. Because the warp creates what people believe in.
No. So this is what's led to the theory of he's just there with everyone believing in him so that he could slowly build himself up in the warp so he can destroy the warp gods. The thing is, there's so many theories as to what's actually happening. And, one day, I'm sure, if Games Workshop ever really needed money, that man will step off the golden throne.
Yeah, he will.
He will.
And it'll be the coolest model ever.
It will be so
be massive.
dope. It'll be crazy.
It'll either be like funny enough, what you did with the someone on the throne, didn't you? Was it one of the queens?
Oh yeah, it was. That was a Midwinter Minis miniature where it's Queen Elizabeth before she died.
On the golden throne.
This miniature was made,
nice,
and it was her on like a hovercraft with just a torso.
Nice.
And she's like plugged in.
That's kind of what I think would.
I feel like it's treason now.
Yeah,
that's heresy.
Yeah,
heresy. I think it'll be something along the lines of that, or he's gonna be pristine, a godlike.
But ultimately, that effectively takes us up to 40k, and then after that, it's just watching war between orders of chaos, the good guys. And
question mark, good guys.
Good guys. Question
the guys writing the story.
yes. No. That's exactly right. The guys writing the story.
Yeah.
The guys writing the story. The evil Primarchs and their legions who still exist.
Yeah.
All the warp gods.
Yeah.
all the Xenos, which are the
Yeah.
aliens, and you have the orcs and the Tyranids. It's just chaos. It's what 40k is chaos.
I mean,
It is.
chaos has created chaos.
well,
Chows.
yeah.
chows.
Chows.
Sorry, chows.
But once again, it's such an in-depth world. If you want to go into it,
Yeah. That's why I
It's
wanted to do like, let's
time.
get it out the way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Warhammer stuff. If this like got you interested, I'd recommend the entry drug of the game Darktide, which is a good first-person shooter / hack and slash,
hack and slash, yeah.
which is
It's a really easy.
yeah.
It's an easy game to play. It's very bloody. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, gory.
It's like Left 4 Dead but Warhammer.
But
Yeah.
as a game, it's quite simple, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very simple. It's a way to basically, I think, it's a way to easily immerse yourself in the world and kind of get to grip of how, I'm going to say grimdark, which is what you'd normally use as a description for Warhammer, how grimdark it is.
Yeah.
And then if you go, oh no, this is a pretty cool setting, you know, I want to learn more. Then you end up like Greshan, addicted to learning the lore, which has learned more than I remember at this point, I think. But it's a very easy game, and I'm going to touch on it because I did write Darktide review because it's quite easy to review quite quickly.
Yeah.
It's a hack and slash. You are essentially one of the standard humans,
Yep.
or an Ogryn, which is basically a really overly tall human.
I mean,
it's kind of bio.
There's one more
biomod.
transformation before you
Effectively,
get to a
breaks down
Hulk.
into four classes. You might as well break it down.
Yeah, there's the veteran. Basically, imagine yourself a World War One or Two Nazi. It's basically most of the uniforms, or the other skin is basically the Starship Troopers. It's those two.
Imperial soldier.
Yeah, it's an Imperial soldier. Then you've got the Psyker, which is what you play mainly.
Yep.
You're basically a wizard.
Basically wizard. Very weak, but glass cannon, classic glass cannon.
Yeah. What's your one called?
Zealot.
Zealot, that was it. Which is similar to the Psyker in some ways.
Vaguely religious.
Vaguely religious.
But
It's
also,
like a hybrid of the two.
Yeah, he doesn't have any psychic powers, but he has chance.
He has
Yes.
chance, but he's also similar to you as a soldier.
Yeah, and then there's the Ogryn, who's a massive guy, basically an ogre. Who goes, I can smash stuff with
Basically
big
a
things.
tank.
Yeah, it's a
You
tank.
could just sit there, just soak up all the damage.
And the game is you essentially have to get it from A to B. You have hordes that come. Sometimes you have to hold down an area, and they're all the hordes are infected by Nurgle, who is a god of blight and pestilence. So they're like basically zombies.
They're all quite disgusting.
Yeah, all very disgusting. And when you whack them, you like sometimes get maggots throwing out of you and blood. It's great if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
As a game, it's also you have like tokens,
Yes.
and you can tailor your character to be quite a lot of different things. You could either be powerful in that you like for me it was chance, even more chance that allow us to not get affected by a gas that would be released, or
It's almost like a D&D rules of you can increase certain levels of different things.
Honestly, that's probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah, and you level up as you get points.
Yeah.
And you can kind of shape your thing. So my guy is more focused on shooting now. Don't ever do melee if you're a veteran. It doesn't work. I tried that the first time.
and only do melee if you're a zealot.
Yes.
It's really helpful, and I managed to get mine up to have almost the same hit points as what was it?
The
Ogryn?
The Ogryn, which is the tank.
Yeah, but it also comes at a sacrifice that you lose a lot of like the chance and things like that. So you've got
It's got a good character.
It
building.
all comes down to how you build your character. Really.
Yeah.
it's how
But
you play.
you can
with
reset it as well. So if you get it wrong, you can go back for it and try something else, which is quite a nice
the
feature.
really nice thing.
Yeah.
You could just try.
The other thing is, if you're on PC, it does look awesome.
Yes,
Like, I think there's definitely some form of ray tracing on it, or if not, there's some good imitation.
I think
going
it's. I don't think there's ray tracing,
It's
but I think it's baked
Yeah.
in. But I think the lighting was baked in early
It's
on.
nice lighting.
It was really
Because I've seen it on your console, it definitely looks worse.
Oh, it might be ray tracing then. How
I
old
think
is
it
the
might
game?
just be the fact
Should
that
we-
it was optimized for PC. Feel free to Google it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. Essentially, what you'll do is you're on a ship. You have to you're an ex-prisoner. You have to level up your character to essentially be accepted into the Imperium and known as a good guy.
There's a bit of a story.
The story doesn't really matter.
Nobody
It's a
really
hack and
cares about the
slash
story.
To be
that
honest
you
with
go
you,
on with your mates.
watch the first one and watch the last.
Yeah,
Skip the
that's
rest.
that's what you need. Yeah, just get the rest. But it's quite cool because you kind of experience the different like types of planet. There's like these religious giant temples.
Yeah.
There's the sewers. There's Hive City, which is like kind of like Ready Player One. It's like the stacks where it's loads of flight containers on top of each other.
There's lots of stuff you can find as you
Yeah,
hunt around.
there's unlocks. There's like cursed items. If you shoot them, you get bonus points. So it's a good like. I'd say you probably will get bored of it. We all kind of got bored of it for playing it so much all at once.
Yes, yeah.
I got bored of it twice now because I played it in the beta and then got bored of it and then played it again with you guys and then got bored of it. But it's a good entry game. It's quite affordable now. So I'd recommend that if you want to see what the world's like and kind of experience it.
You only go up to level 30?
Yeah, you go to level 30.
Level 30 per operator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
per operator.
Once you get there, it's like, what's next?
Yeah, because everyone already picks their automatic favorite version of playing the game, right?
I
at the
would
start.
definitely, biased opinion, but
This guy.
the Psyker is just so. I don't know. The issue is you kind of have to pick which way you want to go. You can either go for, I want to set fire to a bunch of horde of zombies, effectively.
Yeah.
And that's really good because you either have really big enemies that turn up, or just a massive horde of small enemies that are weak.
Yeah.
But because it's a horde, you can't kill them all at the same time.
No.
And they do so much damage.
Yeah,
that you just
especially
go
when
down.
they get to a higher level.
It's
Yeah.
really good with. We found when we were playing that, if you had the Zealot and the Psyker, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Zealots are good at the hordes, but it takes a lot for them to do like a heavy attack. The heavy attack.
It's like a campaign of any kind of RPG, basically. You need to have a mix of
really
one of
need
each.
to work together as a squad.
Yeah.
I mean, effectively, at all times, I need protection.
You always need one of each for you to get through easily.
It was a
It's just the
case
core.
of if you separate from each other, there's
Protect Gresh.
yeah, but that and we failed every
Yeah.
time we.
Yeah,
I just turned into a Labrador.
That was the number one issue.
I just run around like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this?
Oh, and then at the same time, you also had Luke trying to sabotage us every single
It's
moment.
not sabotage.
Because he came across explosive barrels
I shoot
and he'd
everyone.
just shoot him. And he'd always shoot them just as you approached them.
Not my
So
fault.
they'd explode, you take damage, and then you die.
Just don't attack them. Don't go near the
Such
barrels.
a rage.
So what happens is you have to predict where the barrels are going to
Yep.
be and not be there.
Yes, effectively. But it
The worst one is
kind
you
of
have a
all worked
sniper.
out in our favour because he very quickly realised his character was very weak. So he couldn't keep running away like a little Labrador.
No.
I think the best one was when you had the
The shovel.
The shovel.
The shovel is still key to the same as pickup. So if I pick something up next to a barrel, I pick it up and whack the barrel at once and then blow myself up.
I don't know if that's. I don't want to say user error.
I
would
definitely
call it
changed
user
my
error.
key bindings, not for the better.
Yeah. But I also think the. You were very, very good at being distracted, but you were very good at
Yes.
finding things.
He did no.
I did find
to
a
be
lot
fair,
of
he
unlocks.
found all the loot that made us rich. To be
Yes,
fair,
so that we could actually get to high levels.
By the end of it, we
he
were
did
very
do
rich.
that.
Yeah, that's what. I
But
was
at the
aiming
same
for.
time, he also caused us to lose.
I'm the type of game player where when I play Witcher, I would try every house
Oh,
and
yeah,
every
yeah.
village straight away and steal everything. So yes, I search for all the loot on
He
every
does.
game.
He does.
But I think that if you are interested in Warhammer, Darktide's a good easy way to go on if you're doing PC games. If not, try the game. If
Yeah.
not, try the books. I've
mean,
heard
Space Marines also not a
yeah.
bad shout. And
Yeah.
the thing is, what has it been quite evident is obviously Warhammer's taken off. Especially
there's
with
the Amazon episode.
Well, you got the Amazon episode, but you've also got Henry Cavill as an actor who's massive on Warhammer.
Yeah.
And he's been good for publicity
Yeah.
about Warhammer, but also
They've signed the
believe
deal
they're
now.
doing a movie? On TV series.
They have signed the deal that they will be doing Warhammer-based projects with Amazon.
Yeah.
That is vague enough that it can be 40k and fantasy.
It could be quite interesting.
I'm excited for fantasy if there's fantasy.
I think the idea behind it
Yeah.
was to create a cinematic universe.
Yes.
So that could be past, present, and future.
Yeah.
There's like what's currently happening in 40k versus what might happen
Yeah.
because he's partnered with Games
I
Workshop.
cannot see Games Workshop wanting to do anything present.
What, like now?
Yeah.
No, there won't be that. But
Could do.
I think they might do 30k, they'll do 40k, and they'll probably do some fantasy.
Th-
And
I
they've got
don't
Age
mean-
of Sigmar.
Sorry, when I say now, I don't mean as in.
You mean that now in the
As in,
40k
well,
universe?
yeah,
40K,
so
yeah.
40K
No,
now.
They might use it to instead of books sometimes to continue the story arcs.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think.
I'm thinking rather than having a release of a book every year,
Yeah.
it might be every 2 years where they give an update.
Yeah.
But the
And then
film
they do something.
slash
One thing
TV
for sure,
series.
if they do it well, you're going to get some cracking sci-fi horror films in the next few years because it's a great setting for that.
Yeah. And then, well, I was going to say, at the same time, it's also lent itself to more games, as
Yes,
we've seen.
exactly. Game adaptations of I hate this. It's going to be a game adaptation
Yep.
of a film
Yep.
of
A
a board
or table game.
of a tabletop game
Yep.
from an RPG.
Yes. Great fun.
Try and unwrap that one. I think we're going to call that an end now because
Yep.
we are pretty far in on time, further than we would be aiming for. We were aiming for 1.5 hours, but it seems that we've definitely gone over that because Greshan loves 40k.
As you
you
found
can
out.
see, he's a fanboy.
No.
He's going to have it tattooed on his forehead.
He was testing my knowledge, and then it just kept.
And it
coming.
turns out he knows more than me, which is a bit concern. Okay, so ending. So we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. Woo!
Please fill in the poll.
Fill the poll in and comments.
Yeah, any
on
comments.
comments.
All
Yeah.
platforms, so we know what to add more to. If I know we did a big 40k one now, we'll do different stuff from now
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Unless you specifically request something, then we'll definitely do it.
Yeah, please let us know. Like, if there's nothing on the poll for any of the topics that we've mentioned,
Comment.
just slap a comment down.
Engagement is key for making
yes,
sure this
please.
podcast takes off. So,
And if you get a chance, leave us a review as well. Let us know how many stars.
Yeah.
and if you have complaints, post them below so Greshan can say about them next time.
Yep.
James, would you like to take it over to next time?
Next time, will James and Luke ever buy more computer parts? And will they ever make a decision?
Probably.
They will.
Yeah.
And unlike the trench that Luke has made and has actually finished it, will Greshan finish his garden?
How is the Somme?
Particularly soggy.
Well, that's the weather. Until next time.
See you later, guys.
Peace.